Intimacy doesn't come from charm, bold moves, or perfectly chosen compliments. It begins in the emotional space a man creates when he knows how to guide a woman into parts of herself she usually keeps private. Many men assume that if a woman is attracted, closeness will happen automatically. But attraction without emotional depth rarely leads anywhere meaningful. What truly draws a woman in is the feeling that a man understands her inner world and isn't intimidated by it. When she feels recognized rather than judged, she relaxes. When she feels safe rather than evaluated, she becomes more open. And when she feels encouraged to express thoughts she doesn't normally share, she starts to associate him with a kind of comfort she doesn't find easily. This is why the questions you ask are so important. They aren't designed to collect information. They are opportunities for her to slow down, reflect, and reveal something real. Each question invites her to speak from a more genuine place, a place that holds her fears, hopes, desires, and vulnerability. Most conversations never reach that territory because most men stay on the surface. They rely on routine, predictable questions that let her stay in autopilot. She answers politely, but nothing shifts inside her. No intimacy forms, no spark deepens. She remains emotionally untouched. The questions you're about to learn are different. They invite her to explore her emotions, not her resume. They awaken curiosity, softness, and self-expression. When a woman begins sharing these deeper parts of herself, she forms a connection with the person who made that space possible. She starts to feel seen in a way she rarely experiences. And emotional closeness is what naturally leads to physical closeness, because a woman's body follows her mind. If her mind trusts you, her guard drops. If her guard drops, her desire grows. What matters most is the way these questions are delivered. A calm tone allows her to settle into the moment. A steady presence helps her feel unhurried. A relaxed confidence shows her she can speak openly without worrying about how you'll interpret it. The right question, asked in the right way, makes her feel understood before she says a word. This is how intimacy truly forms, not through intensity or pressure, but through the warmth and depth of a conversation that feels different from anything she is used to. These questions aren't manipulative. They simply give her permission to reveal the parts of herself that crave connection. And once she shares those parts with you, the relationship, emotional and physical, begins to unfold naturally. Now, let's begin with the first question, the one that opens her inner world in a way she rarely experiences. Question 1. What part of yourself do you wish people understood better? This question opens the door to her inner world in a way that feels safe, thoughtful, and deeply personal. Most people move through life feeling partially unseen. They show fragments of themselves depending on the situation, but rarely feel fully recognized. When you ask a woman what part of herself she wishes others understood, you're inviting her to speak from the place she usually hides, not because she wants to, but because she's learned that most people don't listen long enough to understand her. A shy or reserved woman, especially, often feels misunderstood. She carries emotions and thoughts that go unnoticed because she doesn't express them loudly. Asking this question gives her a chance to reveal something meaningful without feeling exposed. It lets her choose how deep she wants to go while still feeling that you're genuinely interested in who she is behind her habits, her humor, or her confidence. The beauty of this question is the effect it has on her self-awareness. She pauses, not because she's uncomfortable, but because she realizes the moment is different. She's not being asked about her favorite movie or her weekend plans. She's being invited to speak from a more authentic place. That shift alone builds intimacy. Women open up when a man shows he's capable of holding something deeper than small talk. As she begins to answer, she'll reveal parts of her personality that matter deeply to her. The sensitivity she hides because she fears it makes her seem weak. The strength she downplays because she doesn't want to intimidate anyone. The dreams she keeps quiet because she's afraid of being dismissed. She may share a trait she's proud of that others overlook. She may confess something she struggles with that she rarely talks about. Whatever she chooses to reveal, it isn't random. It's the layer she most wants someone to finally see. The intimacy here doesn't come from the content of her answer. It comes from the experience of being asked. She feels recognized. She feels chosen. She feels safe enough to give you a piece of herself that isn't polished or rehearsed. Most men never access this side of a woman because they never create the emotional stillness needed for her to open. Your role is simple. Listen, don't analyze, fix, or offer solutions. Let her speak. Let her feel that her thoughts are worth hearing. When she senses that you're fully present, something subtle but powerful happens. Her body relaxes, her tone softens, and she begins to see you as someone who can handle the deeper parts of her, not just the surface. This question also creates a bridge between emotional and physical intimacy. When she feels understood, her guard drops. She trusts more easily. Her attraction deepens because she connects that trust to you. You become the man who sees her in ways others don't, and that experience is profoundly magnetic. A woman opens physically only when she feels emotionally safe. This question lays the foundation for exactly that. It gives her space to reveal the part of herself she most wants you to notice. And once she feels truly seen, the desire for closeness becomes natural rather than forced. Question 2. What draws you closer to someone without you realizing it? This question moves the conversation into a deeper, more quietly sensual space without crossing any lines. It's not explicit. It doesn't ask about fantasies or preferences directly. Instead, it invites her to reflect on the emotional and energetic qualities that awaken her attraction. Every woman has certain triggers, not physical ones, but psychological ones, that pull her towards someone long before she consciously admits it. By asking this question, you're giving her the opportunity to share those internal signals in a safe, comfortable way. This works because it allows her to talk about desire indirectly. She isn't describing what she wants you to do. She's describing the type of connection that affects her, the energy she responds to, the emotional cues that make her feel drawn in. It lets her open the door to her romantic and sensual instincts without feeling exposed. She can talk about desire while still maintaining her comfort, and that balance is what creates intimacy. When she answers, she may describe qualities rather than actions. Steadiness, patience, a calming presence, a sense of direction. A man who listens without rushing her, someone who makes her feel valued without overwhelming her. Most women don't respond to intensity. They respond to subtlety. They respond to the feeling of being understood, protected, and genuinely wanted. And this question allows her to express that in her own words. Some women might mention small gestures that affect them. When someone remembers something she said, when a man looks at her in a way that makes her feel cherished, when he speaks with a tone that settles her instead of startling her. These aren't bold moves. They're quiet signals that tell her she's safe to open emotionally. And emotional opening is the doorway to physical openness for most women. As she describes what draws her in, she's also revealing the path to her own intimacy. She may not realize it, but she's giving you a blueprint of how she feels connected, how she trusts, how she softens. You learn what makes her lean towards someone instead of holding back. And if she's attracted to you already, this question intensifies that feeling because she can't help but wonder how much you match the qualities she's describing. She might talk about the way someone's energy affects her body, not in an explicit way, but in subtle physical cues. How she relaxes, how she breathes differently, how she becomes more aware of herself. These details are powerful because they show how emotional and physical reactions merge inside her. A woman's desire rarely starts with touch. It starts with emotional safety and psychological pull. As she explains what draws her closer, pay attention to the tone of her voice. Women reveal their intimacy through tone long before they reveal it through words. When she speaks about qualities that stir her, her voice softens, her pace slows, and her eyes shift into a more vulnerable, reflective state. That shift itself is a sign of intimacy forming. This question doesn't just help you understand her, it creates closeness by making her articulate feelings she normally keeps private. She begins to associate you with the emotions she's describing. If you match any part of the energy she's drawn to, she'll feel it immediately. And when a woman feels understood on this level, her body follows her emotions. Slowly, naturally, willingly. Question 3. What makes you feel completely safe with someone? This question invites her into one of the most important emotional spaces a woman can enter with a man, the experience of safety. Not physical safety in the literal sense, but the deeper kind, the comfort that lets her soften, exhale, and let her guard fall without worrying about how she'll be perceived. Many women move through the world guarded, even when they appear confident. They're used to managing their emotions carefully, reading the room, and protecting themselves from being misunderstood or taken advantage of. When you ask what makes her feel safe, you're asking her to reveal the conditions that allow her to be her truest self. This question creates intimacy because it speaks directly to her emotional instincts. For a woman, safety isn't just a preference, it's a prerequisite for real connection. She can like someone, flirt, laugh, and enjoy a conversation, but she won't open deeply, emotionally, or physically until she feels held in a way that doesn't require constant self-monitoring. Asking about what gives her that feeling shows maturity and awareness. It shows her that you understand intimacy isn't built through pressure, but through presence. As she answers, she'll reveal the emotional cues that matter most to her. Maybe she feels safe with someone who listens without dismissing her thoughts. Maybe she values a man who stays calm during conflict, or someone whose tone remains steady even when the moment is intense. She may describe qualities that create emotional steadiness, patience, reliability, the ability to stay grounded when she becomes overwhelmed. These are not small details. They are the architecture of her trust. Some women will talk about boundaries, how someone respects her pace, her comfort level, or her emotional signals without trying to push or persuade. Others will mention consistency because unpredictable behavior makes her tense and guarded. You'll learn what weakens her defenses and what helps her open naturally. And the moment she names these things, something shifts between you. She's giving you insight into the emotional blueprint of her closeness. What's powerful about this question is that answering it often brings her into a softer emotional state. Talking about what makes her feel secure triggers those feelings in the moment. Her voice slows. She becomes more thoughtful. Her body language shifts. She's not just describing safety, she's experiencing a touch of it because of the conversation itself. That internal shift is where intimacy begins to build. This question also allows you to understand her vulnerability without asking her to expose anything she isn't ready to share. She chooses the level of depth. She decides how much she wants to reveal. And by giving her that choice, you're creating exactly the kind of environment she's describing, one where she feels in control of her own openness. Many women have never been asked this question. They've been pursued, complimented, admired, even desired, but they haven't been invited to talk about the emotional foundation that makes intimacy possible for them. When you ask what makes her feel safe, you stand apart from nearly every man she has met. She begins to see you as someone who can handle her vulnerability with steadiness, not someone who will take advantage of it. And once a woman feels emotionally safe with a man, her attraction deepens in ways that surprise even her. Her guard lowers, her tone warms, her desire grows naturally because her mind finally has permission to relax. This question doesn't just open her emotionally, it prepares the ground for everything that follows. Closeness, trust, and the deeper intimacy she's often afraid to want. Question 4. What's something you secretly crave but rarely talk about? This question guides her into the territory where emotional intimacy quietly begins, turning into physical tension. It invites her to reveal something she desires, not necessarily in a sexual way, but in a personal, emotional, or experiential way that she usually keeps hidden. Most women carry unspoken longings. Some are romantic, some are sensual, some are tied to experiences they haven't allowed themselves to pursue. Asking her to share one of these opens a space where she can express suppressed desires without feeling judged. The reason this question works so powerfully is that it touches the edge of vulnerability and temptation simultaneously. It doesn't force her into uncomfortable detail. It doesn't demand confessions. It simply gives her permission to speak about something she normally avoids discussing. When a woman shares a hidden craving, she reveals part of her emotional and psychological landscape. And that revelation builds trust, closeness, and a subtle spark of desire. As she answers, she may choose something light, like craving more spontaneity in her life, wanting deeper emotional connections, or desiring more freedom to express herself. But she might also step toward a more intimate direction, not explicitly, but through hints and emotional language. She might talk about wanting to feel chosen, wanting a certain kind of attention, wanting moments that feel intense or meaningful. These answers show you the emotional openings that guide her into deeper connection. She could mention something she's afraid people won't understand, which is where the intimacy heightens. Women often conceal their deeper desires because they've been judged or dismissed in the past. When she realizes you're creating a space where she can speak openly, she'll begin to trust you with parts of herself she usually protects. That trust becomes a bridge between emotional openness and physical closeness. What matters most here is how you receive her answer. Stay relaxed, stay curious, stay present. Don't rush to make a joke or dive into your own story. Let her linger in her vulnerability. When she feels that you're holding the moment steady, she naturally softens. Her guard drops because your energy is calm enough for her to explore something personal without fear of being misunderstood. As she continues talking, you'll notice subtle shifts. Her voice may lower, her pauses may grow longer, Her eyes might reveal a quiet intensity. She's not performing, she's allowing herself to be seen. And when a woman lets a man see the parts of her she usually hides, desire begins to form in a deeper, more authentic way. This question also allows you to understand the emotional rhythm she responds to. Her cravings reveal what makes her feel alive, connected, or desired. They show you the path toward deeper intimacy that doesn't rely on pressure or boldness. Women open when they feel emotionally understood, and when their inner desires are heard with respect, not judgment. The power of this question lies not in the words themselves, but in the moment it creates. You're guiding her to speak about something private, but you're doing it with steadiness and warmth. That combination is rare. Most men are either too cautious or too direct. This question finds the perfect middle ground, subtle enough to feel safe, intimate enough to stir something inside her. By the end of her answer, she won't just feel closer to you. She'll feel more connected to herself. And she'll associate that self-connection with your presence. That is how emotional intimacy becomes physical chemistry. Question 5. Can you remember a moment when you felt deeply connected to someone? This question invites her into a memory where connection felt effortless and meaningful. A moment when someone reached her emotionally in a way she didn't forget. Women bond through emotion, not logic. And asking her to revisit a past experience of deep connection brings her into the exact emotional state you want her to feel with you. She's not just telling a story, she's reliving the sensation of closeness. And that memory creates an internal shift she can't completely control. When she searches for an answer, she begins sorting through experiences that left an imprint on her. She might think of a conversation that lasted longer than expected, a moment when someone made her feel understood, or a situation where she felt comfortable enough to let her walls down. As she revisits the memory, her emotional body responds before she even speaks. Her voice softens, her facial expression changes, and her body language becomes more open. She's stepping back into a feeling she didn't realize still lived inside her. This question works because it bypasses logic entirely. You're not asking about her ideal partner or her preferences. You're asking her to access a moment where intimacy was real. That memory allows her to reconnect with the sensations that made her feel close to someone. Safety, warmth, anticipation, curiosity, ease. And once she reconnects with those sensations, the person sitting in front of her, you, becomes linked to that emotional state. She might talk about a moment that surprised her, a quiet night when she felt unusually seen, or an unexpected conversation where someone understood her without effort. She might recall a connection that never became a relationship, but left a lasting mark. These memories often reveal the emotional blueprint of what she values most. Not the gestures, not the words, but the underlying feeling. That feeling is what she craves again. As she describes her experience, listen carefully to the emotional tone behind her words. Notice what made the moment meaningful to her. Was it the gentleness, the honesty, the way the other person made her feel unjudged? These clues show you exactly what pulls her closer. And the more she speaks, the more she shifts into vulnerability. Because she's not just giving information, she's giving insight into how she bonds. This question also has a subtle sensual element. Emotional connection and physical desire are deeply linked for women, even if they don't say it directly. When she talks about a moment where she felt close to someone, she's revisiting the state where she was most open, receptive, and emotionally alive. That state naturally softens her guard with you, not because you pressed her, but because you guided her into a space where her heart could breathe. Another part of this question's power is the contrast it creates. If her past connections felt rare, incomplete, or short-lived, she becomes aware of what she's been missing. That awareness opens her even more in the present moment. She becomes receptive to deeper connection because she's realizing how much she values it and how rarely she finds it. By the time she finishes answering, the energy between you will feel different. She'll be speaking more slowly, choosing her words more thoughtfully, and sitting with more openness in her posture. She'll feel closer to you without knowing exactly why. You didn't ask her to expose herself. You simply invited her to revisit a part of her that longs for emotional intimacy, and she allowed you to witness it. And a woman who allows a man to witness her softness becomes more drawn to him than she expects. Question 6. If you could design the perfect kind of closeness with someone, what would it feel like? This question guides her into imagining a future version of intimacy, not in a sexual way, but in a deeply emotional and physical sense. It invites her to describe the feeling of closeness she wants, without pressuring her to define it through specific actions. When a woman begins imagining connection in the way she wants to experience it, she naturally becomes more open to the person who inspired that vision. And because the question focuses on emotion rather than logistics, she feels comfortable answering it without worrying that she's revealing too much. When you ask this, you're giving her room to speak about her ideal emotional environment. The pace, the energy, the tone, the tenderness, the depth. She might describe comfort, consistency, or touch that feels natural instead of forced. She might talk about ease, the ability to sit with someone in silence and still feel understood. She may describe playfulness, warmth, or subtle anticipation. Whatever she shares, she's outlining the landscape where her heart and body both relax. This question subtly blends the emotional and physical aspects of intimacy by focusing on feeling. Women often struggle to articulate physical desire directly, especially early on, but they can easily talk about the emotional sensations they associate with closeness. These sensations, safety, warmth, softness, excitement, steadiness, are the gateway into physical desire. When she describes them out loud, she's reconnecting with the part of herself that wants to experience them again. As she answers, you'll hear her speak about conditions that allow her to let her guard down. She might say she feels closest to someone when there's patience, when there's genuine listening, when tension fades and she can simply exist without performing. She might describe the pleasure of slow, intentional connection rather than intensity. Many women crave a specific emotional rhythm, one that builds trust and desire at the same time, but rarely feel invited to describe it. You're giving her that invitation, and it makes her feel valued. This question also allows you to see what intimacy means to her. For some, it's emotional depth. For others, it's laughter and shared experiences. For others, it's touch that feels connected rather than rushed. Her description reveals not only her desires, but also her fears, what she avoids, what overwhelms her, what she's learned not to expect. These insights help you understand how she bonds, how she protects herself, and how she opens. One of the most powerful elements of this question is that it places you into her future implicitly. She may not say it directly, but she will naturally imagine experiencing these feelings with someone she trusts. And because you're the one asking, her mind subtly associates the image of closeness with your presence. It's not manipulation, it's emotional resonance. You're guiding her to articulate the type of connection that already draws her toward you. As she speaks, you'll notice a softness in her voice. Her breathing might slow, her expression becomes more reflective, more vulnerable. She's not analyzing anymore, she's feeling. And when a woman moves from thinking to feeling, intimacy deepens effortlessly. By the time she finishes, she will have shared something rare, not what she wants externally, but how she wants to feel internally. That emotional blueprint is the raw material of intimacy. Once she articulates it, she becomes more aware of her longing for it. And the man who understands that longing, quietly, respectfully, confidently, becomes the man she feels drawn to build it with. This question doesn't just open her emotionally, it opens her imagination. And once she imagines closeness with you, the distance between you begins to shrink on its own. Question 7. What do you feel but rarely admit to yourself? This is the question that brings her into her most vulnerable space, the place where her unspoken emotions live. It isn't about confession. It isn't about forcing her to reveal something dramatic. It's an invitation for her to acknowledge a truth she usually keeps tucked away, even from herself. Every woman carries quiet emotions she minimizes or avoids. Desires she suppresses, fears she masks, longings she pushes aside, or truths she senses but rarely names. Asking her about this creates a profound shift in the connection because it allows her to explore the part of her emotional world that stays hidden under routine and responsibility. What makes this question so intimate is that you're not asking her to share a polished version of herself. You're asking about the subtle, often conflicting feelings she doesn't express in normal conversation. She might talk about wanting deeper connection than she lets on, struggling with loneliness even when she appears independent, craving affection she doesn't always allow herself to seek, or feeling more intensely than she shows. These are the pieces of her emotional life that rarely see the light. The moment she begins to articulate them, she steps into a kind of openness that naturally brings her closer to the man who held the space for it. She may hesitate before answering, not from discomfort with you, but from realizing she's about to speak from a deeper place. That hesitation is intimacy. It means she's shifting from the surface-level version of herself into something more honest. When she does speak, her voice might soften. Her tempo changes. Her words become more thoughtful. She's not reciting information. She's revealing a layer she usually keeps guarded. This question also allows her to feel emotionally lighter. Sharing a hidden truth isn't just intimate, it's relieving. When she puts words to something she rarely acknowledges, she experiences a moment of emotional release. And because you are the one who facilitated that moment, her sense of closeness with you deepens even further. Intimacy is not created by bold moves. It's created by the feeling of being understood without judgment. Another powerful aspect of this question is the mirror effect. Women often use emotional honesty as a way of testing emotional safety. When she sees that you can hold her truth calmly, without reacting dramatically, without trying to fix it, without diminishing it, she begins to trust you with more of herself. That trust is the foundation of both emotional and physical connection. Sometimes her answer will hint at desires she doesn't admit openly, wanting to be comforted, wanting to feel chosen, wanting to surrender control, wanting softness or closeness she rarely allows herself. She won't express these as explicit fantasies. She'll express them as feelings she suppresses. These suppressed feelings often reveal what she truly wants in intimacy, connection, and partnership. And when a man hears her clearly, a bond forms that's deeper than attraction. This question also creates a shift inside you. Hearing her unfiltered emotions gives you insight into the rhythm of her heart, what touches her, what scares her, what she longs for. Understanding these hidden emotional currents lets you meet her in the places where she actually lives, not the places she pretends to live. By the end of this conversation, she won't just feel heard, she'll feel exposed in the most gentle and comforting way, and she'll associate that emotional nakedness, that rare moment of honesty, with your presence. That association is where emotional intimacy becomes physical openness, not through pressure, but through trust. A man who can hold a woman's hidden feelings becomes the man she naturally moves closer to, emotionally first, and then in every other way that follows. When you step back and look at the questions you've just learned, you begin to see the pattern they create. None of them are about impressing her. None of them try to pull her into vulnerability through pressure or intensity. They work because they guide her toward the parts of herself she rarely shares, and they let her arrive there at a pace that feels natural. Women don't open emotionally because a man is attractive. They open because a man makes it easy for them to feel safe, understood, and seen without having to perform. Most men never reach that level of connection because they stay on the surface. They talk about plans, preferences, and light details. There's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't create intimacy. It doesn't stir anything inside her. It doesn't make her body relax or her tone shift or her guard soften. True intimacy happens when a woman feels that a man is capable of understanding her depth, not because he pries, but because he listens in a way that makes her want to reveal more. The questions in this video act as openings. Each one touches a different part of her emotional world. The part that wants to be acknowledged, the part that wants to be desired, the part that wants to feel safe, the part that wants to be understood, and the part that wants to be accepted without judgment. When a woman is invited to speak from these places, her entire presence changes. Her voice grows warmer, her body becomes more relaxed, her energy moves closer to yours. She feels something shift inside her because intimacy is forming in real time. This is how closeness truly develops, not through bold gestures or flashy moves, but through emotional presence, through the kind of attention that makes her realize she doesn't have to hide, through the steadiness you bring into the moment. When she feels that steadiness, she begins to trust her own desire. She begins to imagine you in the spaces she rarely lets anyone enter. She starts to picture closeness with you. Not because you pushed the idea, but because you created the emotional foundation where that closeness feels natural. Women respond to emotional safety with physical openness. They move toward the men who make them feel understood. They relax into the presence of the men who make them feel calm. They desire the men who awaken their softness instead of forcing it. These questions don't manipulate her into opening up. They give her the emotional room to be honest, and honesty is the beginning of desire. If you can guide a conversation with this kind of intention, you become the type of man a woman feels drawn toward on a deeper level. You're not someone she enjoys casually. You're someone she feels connected to. You're not someone she keeps at a distance. You're someone she leans into. You're not just a momentary spark. You become the emotional space she keeps returning to because it feels different from anything else in her life. Intimacy isn't a trick, it's an energy. These questions simply open the door for that energy to flow. And when you learn to use them with calm confidence, you'll see how naturally women respond, emotionally first, and then in every way that follows. If these questions opened your eyes to how intimacy truly forms, drop the phrase, "I build connection the right way," in the comments. It tells me you're not just listening. You're becoming the kind of man who creates depth instead of waiting for it. And if you want more guidance on how women actually think, how emotional safety turns into desire, and how to build connections that feel mature and meaningful, make sure you subscribe. Every video here is crafted to sharpen your awareness, strengthen your presence, and help you navigate relationships with confidence instead of confusion.